Welcome to today's lecture. We're talking about shooting. Shooting 101. I'm going to tell you a couple of simple things that are going to make your shots turn out better. Sounds easy, I know. Here's the easiest part. When your shots are composed and thought about, and when you think about shooting in shots when you cover an event, or whether you're just going out to make a film or a scene, everything turns out better. And in editing, it all comes together much, much better. So, we're going to take a few minutes. I'm going to cover a couple of basics in the way of shots. How we compose them, some tips and tricks to help just balance them out. Easy things. So let's get started. First things first. Balancing a shot is much like balancing anything else. You want the sides to feel like they're equal. Here's some examples. Let me show you a shot that's not balanced. Okay, what do you notice? What is missing? Does it feel lopsided on one side? Does it feel like we're not, that something's going to tip over or fall out of the screen? That's an unbalanced shot. With just the slightest adjustment, we can make that shot look balanced. Balance can mean more than just position of things on the screen, but it also can be the difference between the sizes of those things on screen. So something that's small on one side can be balanced out by something larger on the other side. It's not a balance like a scale where everything has to be equal on both sides. So think about composing your shots to have a little bit of balance. Balance can be foreground and background. Balance can be left and right. Balance can be up and bottom corners. Just think about where things land in your shot. Next thing to think about when you're composing your shots is a little rule we call the rule of thirds. You may have heard of it. It essentially is this very simple idea that we split the screen into thirds, both vertically and horizontally. And we put the most important things where those lines intersect. Notice they look a lot like tic-tac-toe. But you also notice that our eyes are automatically drawn to those places where the lines intersect. And so when we're shooting things like interviews or people, it feels natural for us to see their eyes on that top third. If we're shooting things like landscape or horizons, you want to see those things land on one of those upper or lower thirds, depending on whether we're focusing on the sky or on what's on the ground. But it's a pretty simple rule of thirds. So using that rule of thirds will help you to position things in your frame. Once you know what's important, you know where to put it, on one of those dots or along one of the lines. Pretty simple. Another time we use the rule of thirds is when we're setting up an interview. We want the interviewee's eyes to land across the top third of the screen. That's where our eyes are going to go naturally, and we like to make eye contact when we're watching somebody on the screen. And that's why we put their eyes at somewhere around the top third. And if you're doing an offside, kind of a side interview this way, then their eyes will still be the top third, but they'll be off to 1/3 of the screen, and you'll leave a little bit of space out there for their nose. We call nose room. We'll get into that in one of our lighting interviews or lighting tutorials down the road. So that's some basics about composition and balance. Really simple stuff, easy to use, and as you apply that in each of your shot compositions and as you think about shots, you'll find it a little easier to apply those rules. And there you have it. Nice and simple. To shoot good shots, think about balance and using the rule of thirds. As you do that, you'll find that your shots have a little bit more pizzazz. They might feel a little bit more complete. You'll even notice this when you are watching TV or watching film. You'll see that a lot of their shots are balanced out by the rule of thirds. And you'll notice that as people talk, as they frame up like maybe hallways and things like that, you'll see all of these things kind of come into play. So I hope that as you get your next assignment, you'll jump in and remember how to balance that shot out, make it feel good, and keep those important things in the rule of thirds. Thank you. Rock on, one and all. Don't forget to watch part 2 of this video where we talk about a couple of tips and tricks in actual shooting. The 10-second rule, the 5-5-5 rule, and my favorite, the in and out of frame technique.